Oh, hello again. Approaching midnight, January the 4th. As I indicated during my last vidcast, I suspected the attempted humanisation of Prince Charles was in preparation. Little did I realise that a programme, a year in preparation, was to be televised by ITV tonight, entitled When Ant and Dec Met the Prince, 40 Years of the Prince's Trust. A previous documentary by Channel 4 was abandoned due to the insistence of Clarence House that they had utter control over the content, over every detail, including camera angles. So, as a populist pitch, in the spirit of these times, we have the cheeky chappy duo, Ant and Dec, hired to put out the propaganda job. Cheeky chappies they may be, but there was no reference to Tampax or even conversations with plants. First thing that strikes me is the sheer repulsive ugliness of the geezer. We're going to have his mug slapped all over our banknotes, coins, stamps and screens. Ant and Dec may be from a working class background, but how they scraped and bowed. The mystic stardust of monarchy to some, radioactive fallout to me. Charles, whatever he says, expects and receives rapt attention from all, each weak joke greeted by gales of laughter from a rather creepy Ant and Dec, in between calling him Sir. Embarrassing, isn't it? The merry trio visit one of the to-be His Majesty's prisons and meet young offenders, obviously hand-picked. Even so, Ant and Dec appear much more at home, sucking up to the mummified Camilla, who proclaims Charles to be a visionary. The old home movies in Charles's private cinema, watched by the gushing Ant and Dec, illustrate how unchanging this grovel fest has been over the decades and even centuries. The only thing missing were the queues of scrofulous urchins awaiting the king's touch. And then there's the grateful, tearful young proles. By this time I was fumbling for the sick bag. Then an interview with the half-brothers William and Harry, who seem slightly human compared to their retarded father, which ain't saying much really. Watching this has been a real endurance test. How can anybody with a sound mind lap this garbage up? Not a critical word about all this wealth and privilege as they scooted from palace to palace. Hope they didn't run over any homeless people on their peregrinations. In total, the future mumbling idiot of a king was only on the camera for a fraction of the programme. By the time of the dinner party scene, I was seriously thinking, where were ISIS and the AK-47s when you really needed them? And to have bagged Rod Stewart into the bargain, if only. I'd certainly consider facing Mecca if they pulled that one off. Right now, I'll just stick to Paddy Power, Corals or Ladbrokes. But seriously, make no mistake, these people have real power. The aristocracy own 1/3 of the land, prompting one to think, whose streets, our streets, whose land, their land. It is rumoured that Charles is a deeply reactionary man. Think of the not too distant future. King Charles and Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Only a revolution could prevent that, as any anarchist could tell you. Trouble is, there has never even been a republican movement of any significance within living memory in this country. Republicanism is totally unacceptable among the political classes of all stripes, right, left or centre. Such is the Ruritanian situation here in the so-called United Kingdom. This programme was pure propaganda dressed up as lightweight entertainment. A year to make? Wonder what the Charles outtakes on camera were like. As for Ant and Dec, They are good old-fashioned class traitors. And as for the royal fuckwit Charles, it's proof positive you simply cannot polish a turd. Oh, how I'd love to hear the sounds of tumbrils rattling over the cobbles. But, by the way, things are going backwards in this country. In a few years' time, this vidcast could be considered a treasonable offence, and watching it too. Goodbye.